The Global Firepower Index gives each nation a ranking based on its military size, economy, resources and geography. It rates Russia the second most powerful, behind the US and in front of China. Australia, by the way, is in 19th, above the nuclear-armed Israel. Last year, Russia spent more than $41 billion on its military. That's a cut from the year before, but considerably more than NATO's military budget and that of its concerned neighbour, Ukraine. But the US dwarfs Russia in this regard. Russia's military spend is less than 6% of what Joe Biden wants to give the Pentagon this year. So what exactly is in Russia's arsenal? Well, according to the publicly available data, more than 1 million active duty troops, more than 4,000 aircraft, and 13,000 tanks. Its navy boasts 64 submarines, 15 destroyers, 11 frigates, and 1 aircraft carrier in service. Russia's believed to have around 1,600 nuclear warheads located in Russia and in some of its submarines. They can be fired atop the new avant-garde hypersonic missiles, purportedly able to travel 20 times the speed of sound, avoid countermeasures, and strike almost any location on Earth. So, Russia has this mighty force. What is it actually doing with it? Well, the Russian military has been backing the Syrian government through its long civil war. It also annexed Crimea in 2014, where it's been entrenching its position and conducting military exercises. There was recently a massive buildup of forces there, along with other parts of the border with Ukraine. Ukraine fears an invasion may be imminent. NATO is also alarmed. William Courtney used to be the US ambassador to Georgia and helped negotiate a nuclear treaty with Russia. He reckons Russia is not so keen on starting a conflict.
A key question is, would Russia be willing to take the casualties that would be required if Russia decided to thrust militarily into Ukraine further? Up till now, Russia has shown a reluctance to take high military casualties. And this is something that dates to the Soviet unhappy experience in Afghanistan in the 1980s. So Russia, the Kremlin, has been trying to hide casualties in eastern Ukraine, even though there have been quite a few.
Former US State Department official James Carden told Sky News, the Ukraine-Russia dispute is more complicated than it's often portrayed. There is a civil war going on in Ukraine, which Russia is inflaming, while the Ukrainian government hasn't been keeping to many regional agreements. He says NATO and the US must do all it can to resolve this dispute diplomatically.
So we need to recognize that a war cannot be won, and that the only way through this is through diplomacy, is through a revival of the Minsk process.
Or risk Russia using its significant military might.